Hi, friends, and welcome to my podcast. This is where I share my insights. And today I'll be talking about how we often treat our circumstances like we would treat symptoms of an illness. But the root of the illness, the raging battle within, the smoldering dis-ease, isn't dealt with. And we often try to rearrange our circumstances to make ourselves more comfortable when the unease simply proliferates from within. So let's talk about circumstances as if they might be symptoms of something deeper. Stick around. One of the breakthroughs of chronic suffering, and I use the word chronic because a lot of our illnesses are chronic. And many of us suffer from chronic suffering because we are hypnotized or lost in a trance that make life feel like an injustice, that the environment is attacking us, and we have a poor immune system. We can't cope with the harsh reality attacking us. And we often will look at our circumstances like aches and pains and lots of bodily problems, which we often blame on environmental issues or genetics or the way we were brought up or my situation, that I can't overcome my situation because my situation or my symptom is the cause. And as much as I would like to help people with their circumstances, make them more comfortable, I am much more interested in providing a deeper kind of medicinal teaching which helps us reflect on why our circumstances might appear as they do. Now, one of the fundamental points of recovery from the hypnosis that most of us are burdened with is that essentially we are sick of being sick. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I am sick of suffering. And somehow noticing that the cycle of suffering is chronic and no treatment of the symptom, which is my circumstance, makes me feel any better. It might temporarily soothe the pain to partake in alcohol, comfort foods, or to avoid things outside of yourself. But essentially, the root is something so much more intimate, and the conflict, which appears as conflict out there, is happening from within you. Now, the ego does not like to hear that we are responsible for our own suffering. Nobody likes to hear that. Yours truly also, for the longest time, avoided that truth, that even implicit is we find ourselves responsible even implicitly for the choices that we make. And spiritual revelation is an understanding that, and we can remember what the Buddha said, that pain might be more or less what other people do to us, but suffering is what we do to ourselves. The pumping venom of getting back and retaliation and fixing the broken, unjust, capricious, and sinister outer world, which we now are learning is systemic of this inner realm. That if somehow you can, I don't want to say get a hold of your inner realm, but to start paying attention to the mind-body relationship, you will suddenly, maybe not suddenly, but gradually understand that suffering is a message that there's something wrong. That's all it is. And that what's wrong is not the circumstance. Now, I've talked about this before, and it needs to be repeated because a lot of us believe that money is the medicine that we are in need of. I am in need of money. That's my medicine. That's going to soothe my condition. Other kinds of medicinal illusions are a partner. If I had a partner, I wouldn't have all this anxiety and longing and missing love in my life. That's another illusion of that's my prescription to heal, is a partner. Or I need a house. If I only had a house, then I would feel this, I'd be, you know. The illusion is that if we were to get what it is that we desire, our suffering would go away. Not realizing that we are hypnotized by the world, in so much that we think that treating the symptoms is treating the dis-ease, and it's not. I mean, if you take an antihistamine, that's not treating anything. That's just turning off receptors to make you more comfortable so that maybe your body can heal from that allergy, you see. Most of our medicines nowadays turn off receptors of pain so that you can be more comfortable and relax so that the body can heal itself naturally. That's kind of the way over-the-counter drugs work. And in many ways, that's the way drugs and alcohol work. They uncouple you from the pain of the ego and the pain of the mind-body construct, which is what the ego is, to make you more comfortable for a minute. But it gives us the perception that if my symptoms would go away, then I would feel okay. And that's simply not the case. Because your circumstances in many ways are at the gut level, at the level of feeling. Your circumstances are a symptom of what you feel, and then what you comment on. So if we could paint a picture or a portrait of our inner condition, you would see it as a circumstance. So your circumstance is a portrait of how you feel. And it's systemic of everything. You do, you act, you say, everything. If you're experiencing a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, and you feel like you're being threatened, I know that feels like the world. I know. It feels like it's coming from out there. But ultimately, you are the source of that anxiety and frustration and resistance. That's coming from you. And a lot of us feel that when we're bored. So irritation, boredom, fidgetiness. It seems like I have to do something, which is treat the symptom. I got to do something out here. I got to fold laundry. I got to go answer a bunch of emails. I have to do something to keep me from sitting with this feeling I call boredom. And the only way to really recover from that is to realize within yourself that you have tired from the root of it. You've tired of the mind-body construct trying to rearrange the universe, trying to rearrange the condition. And like I said, I think the point of conversion is being sick of being sick. You see all sorts of people turning themselves around when they get to that point. I'm sick of addictions. Now, some people continue to dig in. They insist that if they had the money and they had the fame and they had the prestige and they had the wife and they had the this and they had the that, they could finally relieve themselves of their wanting and craving. And it might be temporary, but then the unease would just proliferate and start manifesting as unease in the screen of space that we see as the so-called outside world. So if you're like me, likely you are at the point where you're sick of being sick. You're sick of being a sufferer. And you're sick of treating the symptoms. You really want to get to the root. It's when you have no more medicine. There's no more medicine. No more money, no more new job, no more dream come true that provides the medicinal fulfillment of learning about you as the root of anxiety and all this stuff. It's paranoia. You can begin the turnaround process through something really by paying attention to, at least this is how I did it. I started paying attention to my lull, my sort of constant unease. That's all I did. I had to do that for a long time, like especially if I felt bored or I wanted to just crawl out of my skin. I realized I can't crawl out of my skin. I had to be in my skin. I had to really just put all of my attention on the anxiety. Where did I feel it? How did it manifest? And I realized it was just coming from me. And I would often sit with my unease. I had to. Because everything I was doing, if I did more stuff, the unease got amplified. If I would distract myself and do more stuff, the unease my heart would palpitate even more. So I couldn't get away from it. I had to sit with it until I felt the unease just like that. It was paying attention to it. And I also realized that I wasn't being very sincere in wanting something better for myself. I wanted something better for myself because I thought that would repair me. I thought that would heal me and restore me, but it didn't. All I wanted was to feel better. And all I needed to feel better was more attentiveness to the feeling itself. That's at the baseline what it is. Your uncomfortable circumstance, your high pressure circumstance, your stressed out life, at the level of feeling is a a cesspool inside of you, which the mind is commenting on, thinking of it as a symptom out there. Let's get rid of that person. That person is to blame. Let's get rid of this job. That job is to blame. Let's do everything we can to get some money because the lack of money is to blame. And it never works. The unease comes back like an autoimmune problem. So an autoimmune problem is the body attacking itself. So fear and anxiety and paranoia, it's all the body. It's just you attacking you. Not realizing that not only are you a person for now, but that includes all of it. Everything is included in your life. Even the environment. And so you got to get down to the basics to understand deep levels of trust, which begin to help you digest the truth. And the truth burns a little bit. It burns to think, I did this to myself. I was implicit in most of what goes on in my life. Yeah. Even your circumstances. Because ultimately you have no choice in it. And that's what surrender is recognizing you have no choice. You have no decisions. You have no responsibility. You don't have to bear the weight of the world. You didn't choose to be here. Not in the way we think of choice. You did choose it in the way that you're choosing to make the sun shine. You see? Observer and the observed are locked in. Choicelessness and the lack of control are locked in. There's nothing you can do about it. Even the idea that you can change yourself like that. Likely, your change has already begun because nobody watches videos like this. People who don't understand that their circumstances are a symptom of something internal are not watching videos like this. They're watching videos on how to get rich, how to fix their problems in an outward way. I realize there's no fix. I am just encouraging you to continue because likely you are beginning to flower in your consciousness, the shape of your consciousness. The opening to turn this around is happening in you. That's exciting. That's the good news. That the breakthrough or the turnaround or the shift is occurring, that you can realize that you've been hypnotized. You've been tricking yourself. Looking in the wrong direction, so to speak. For the root of your so-called problems. So if you get confused, if you're still kind of not sure, I want you to think of circumstances as symptoms of something deeper. Something to reflect upon. And you will sense this shift in you. And you will realize that your life has been transactional. And that generosity is not generosity to get something. You don't give something to get something. You don't give thanks so that God will give you more abundance. Those are insincere things. A grateful person gives thanks. Gratefulness is an internal phenomenon. Generosity is that you just give because you just are a generous person. So generosity is not transactional. Like a lot of people believe in this exchange between the outside and the inside. Oh, I took you to lunch last time, so that means it's my turn. Where's my invitation? I live that way I used to live that way all the time, thinking that it was an exchange thing going on, and it's not. True generosity is something that you'll feel. See, at the level of feeling, then you'll start giving things away because you're affluent now. Affluency is one of those wonderful moments where you realize I'm affluent before any money shows up in my life. Affluency is not money. Affluency is flow. And so an affluent person attracts wealth. We have been trying to throw money at poverty forever. It's like giving cough syrup to someone with tuberculosis. We got to get to the root. You see, you got to get to the root and treat it. Poverty is something that needs to be treated because it is deep within. It is people falling for the illusion that they need something. And without it, they are sick. You see what I'm saying? That the circumstance is a symptom of being poor. So you'll notice these shifts in you, especially as it relates to abundance and affluency, that you will be affluent before you see a dime. You will be generous before anybody gives you anything back, and you will be in love before you find a partner. This is at the level of feeling I'm talking about. The root. And that's where this begins to change and flower. When the feeling in the inside is engineered correctly. Sadhguru is good about inner engineering. That's what this is about. It starts with being sick and being sick. And you stop chasing circumstances and rearranging what is not the root. There's something about getting in touch with it and cutting it to the quick and spending time with that root. That's what changes your life. You are changed by a new perspective, which is already happening to you. My name is Ryan Hebert. I hope you enjoyed these insights. Please check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com.